Some of the most interesting things, in my opinion, for sports fans is when players, coaches, media members, broadcasters can take a fan to a place that they can't otherwise go. You know, into that locker room, into the tunnel, into the interactions in the trenches. It's weird. But I've always stopped what I'm doing when a player starts telling stories. So we're in the huddle, when that starts with that, I'm always like, "Ooh, cool. Let's go in the huddle." Because I think deep down, all of us, wish we were in that huddle. All of us wish. What would be better than being in a post-game locker room after winning a big game?
Yeah.
And hearing the players tell the stories and getting to be even just a fly in the wall. So when Alex Anzalone wrote yesterday this long piece in the Players Tribune, and we talked about the beginning and the part where they all supported Dan Campbell. He also, I think, the story took us to a place that we couldn't go, which is sort of inside the head of a player, a leader on the team. He did a really good job describing his feelings. And here we all sit today, and as we commiserate together still a week and a half later, and I don't know when the clock is going to expire on this as a relevant topic in Detroit, but it was kind of pulling the Super Bowl forward a little bit here. The game's on Sunday, and I feel like collectively our tank of given-ness is on zero still. And it just changed the way we approach the Super Bowl because we were almost a participant. Here's what Anzalone wrote, and I think this is, again, taking the fans a place they can't go, and this is how this player actually feels. And I've highlighted some parts of this, but Anzalone wrote, "Does it hurt? Hell yeah, it hurts. What day is today? I've been in a daze. My phone says it's Saturday. Well, it still hurts on Saturday. At 6 o'clock in the morning, I'm pulling in my driveway after the 49ers game, and I was devastated. A few tears were definitely shed in the locker room, a few more on the plane ride home. When I got in the house, it was a surreal feeling. A couple of days later, we're all hanging in the living room, the whole gang. Cooper, his son, just woke up from his nap. I'm holding Cooper in my arms, my wife next to me on the couch. Out of the blue, Cooper turns to me and innocently asks, 'Daddy, did you go to the Super Bowl?' Oof. I looked at Lindsay and I almost lost it. It hits you right in the heart. Everything kind of came back that moment, I mean, the whole journey coming to Detroit because Dan and the coaching staff believed that I could be the leader of the defense. All the heartbreaking losses of 21 when the world was laughing at us and Dan was telling us, F the world, it's about the guys in this room. Thanksgiving 2022 when we played Buffalo down to the wire and lost another heartbreaker and sitting at 4-7. And we get to practice next Tuesday, and our linebacker coach, Kelvin Shepard, looked us all in our eyes and said, "Hey, you know what? We're winning out. We're winning out. That's our expectation now." Opening night against Kansas City, when we spoiled the opener banner-raising party, our guy, when a lot of people were saying, "Oh, man, Kansas City," our guys were thinking, "Oh, man, Kansas City." The wild card game, Stafford and the Rams coming into Ford Field. Then after that game, the incredible video, the Lions fans crying in the stands and just how much it meant. Learning his story, how his late father, a lifelong Lions fan who actually helped build Ford Field. It's just Detroit in one image. The Tampa game. You thought, how do we get it done? How about Amon-Ra fighting for the first down with 3 guys on his back on 3rd and 15? Derek ending it with an unbelievable read. The random lady coming up to David Montgomery at a gas station and giving him a hug, breaking down in tears. "Daddy, did you go to the Super Bowl?" "No, buddy, we didn't. But don't worry, we'll get there." I mean, that's Anzalone, right? That's his feelings. I think when you can put into words what it really feels like and you can kind of put yourself in his position, he did a great job writing that of what it feels like.
I mean, after yesterday, after I read that whole thing, Alex Anzalone shot up to top 2 Lions.
Is that right?
Yeah, he just because everything the part that you read is a great section.
There's a lot more to it.
There's a ton to it.
I highlighted some parts to try and give you the gist of it. We're not going to read the whole story on the air, but it's on the Players Tribune if you want to go read it.
What I liked about it was that he was acknowledging the Detroit side of things. It's the fans and how the fans reacted. The fans in the stands and and that he knows the stories. Like he read everything else, and he saw the news reports on TV. He saw all that stuff, and he's not immune to it. He's not just, I'm just a football player, I don't really care. No, he cares. He's invested, and he knows how invested the fans are. And I think that's cool, and it needed to be shown. And now that it is, I want this guy to retire a Detroit Lion.
Yeah. Now, at the end of the story, he writes to what we've been talking about this morning. So to all the Lions fans out there, before I go, I have one final question for you. Are you going to watch it on Sunday? It's funny. When we had our exit meetings with Dan the other day, he actually asked me the same thing. I didn't know how to answer. I honestly hadn't even thought about it yet, and it kind of made me sick thinking about going to some Super Bowl party and standing around like an idiot trying to pretend to be happy. But Dan said, no, you got to watch it, man. Use every second of it as motivation. I'll sure as hell be watching. That's quoting Dan. Anzalone goes on to write, I can't help but have this image of Dan sitting in a dark room this Sunday all by himself, gripping his coffee cup for 3 straight hours, staring daggers at the TV, just counting down the milliseconds until training camp starts and we can run it back. You're going to have 53 dogs out there doing the exact same. You're going to have the whole coaching staff doing the same. You're going to have a whole city doing the same. This year it sucks. Next year it's us. Believe, Alex. I mean, I've often said, we want our athletes to care as much as we care.
Right.
That is dripping with as much as we care.
This goes back to the whole philosophy that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell had from day one of working together.
Mm-hmm.
They want to put together a team of guys that just love football. And that's what they've done. And Alex Anzalone is a shining example of a guy who loves football.
Yep.
That's a football player.
Yep.
That's a player right there.
Still hurts, doesn't know what day it is, didn't even think about if he was going to watch the game, and now is going to watch it seething. Seething. So you hope that all manifests itself into a team full of rabid dogs next year. But it sounds like it's not something they have to fabricate. Sounds like if Anzalone is the quintessential 2024 Detroit Lion and representative of what a lot of these guys are going to be, we're kind of in good shape, huh? We're kind of in good shape.
Yep.
We'll see where it goes from there.